Hello and welcome. My name is Justin.
And I'm Draven.
And you have tuned in to the GreyVillain podcast. Draven, have you discovered any intelligent life recently?
No, I've been looking around here a lot, but I just can't seem to find anything here on Earth. How about you?
Nothing. I mean, maybe the monkeys. They seem to be the only thing we're sending into space.
Alright, I say we go to Neptune next.
Done.
Alright, let's go. So, Justin, what do we see today?
We saw Astra. We saw Brad Pitt be an astronaut.
So first it was George Clooney, and now Brad Pitt.
Maybe it was even Tommy Lee Jones was first.
Ah, yeah.
Because, I don't know what the timeline looks like.
Yeah, do we actually know when this movie is set? Because it says
sometime in the future.
The near future.
It is so
incredibly vague.
Yeah.
Is this SpaceX near future?
Ooh. No, but there is a subway on the
Mars.
On a moon. The moon.
Oh, was that
the moon? And a DHL.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The moon had like crazy gravity. So we're not going to spoil this quite yet. What was your impressions of this? Of Ad Astra?
Like first impressions when we first saw stuff about it?
Or no, actually of this movie.
Appropriately empty.
Boom. Just, it's done.
Yeah, that's all I've got. I mean, the acting was good, but it's just as empty as space.
Yeah.
It felt underwhelming.
It lacks weight.
It lacks gravity, as you said in the car. It's just... the stakes are nil, and I don't know. I couldn't get invested. I didn't care. Yeah,
so what I was led to believe was that Tommy Lee Jones was off in space. That was Dad, and then Brad Pitt, astronaut, was supposed to go meet up with Dad.
Mm-hmm. And, save him or something.
And something.
That's what it sounded like in the trailers.
And the movie was a whole lot of other stuff there's a lot of distance between here and there.
You know what this movie felt like?
What's that?
Like if they spent an entire Lord of the Rings movie going from the Shire to Mordor.
So you're telling me that they needed some space eagles?
They needed some actual character development and substance, and they had none of that, so it felt dumb and empty.
Yeah. Okay. I'm down with that. Yeah, that sounds
It
right.
felt like Lord of the Rings with one character. And it's Frodo.
Yeah. And could this have been fixed with more characters?
I truly believe if they had another character who stuck with him and went through this with him, and there was dialogue and there was interaction, it would take away some of the weight of his isolation in parts of the movie. But I think it would seriously add some depth and some gravity to the situations and some character. Because otherwise you're just left with
2 hours and 2 minutes of Brad Pitt.
And that's really it. And he says stuff, none of it really matters by the end of the movie. All the stuff about him keeping up to date with Command falls apart. Without spoiling too much, there's no follow through.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with, this movie left me empty.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. That's kind of the thing, is I don't think it was a bad movie. The effects were good. The acting was good. It's Brad Pitt.
The science was good.
What they did with the physics was really good. There were parts of it where I was like, I'm not sure how that works, but I'm not a scientist. And there were parts of it where I'm like, no, that's too fucking cool. I don't care. Mm-hmm. It had its moments where I was really impressed. And then it had other ones where I just felt empty. And the moments where I was impressed don't outweigh the moments where it just felt empty.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of just empty space.
Yeah, like actual space.
Maybe that was the point. They were like super meta or something.
Yeah, but I can't. No. If you're gonna do that, go to a film festival. Don't release a AAA with $100 million budget or something like that.
Tell me, I saw this instead of Rambo: Last Blood.
Okay, yes. I actually would have preferred Rambo: Last Blood to this. It at least would have been funny, I assume.
Yeah. So anyway, do you want to say anything else before?
I don't really have anything to say. That's kind of the issue. This movie just kind of left me empty.
Yeah. Let's see. It stars Brad Pitt, of course, as our main character. Tommy Lee Jones as his daddy. Ruth Negga, who's there for like 5 minutes. And Donald Sutherland, who is also there for 5 minutes. And Liv Tyler, who has like 1 or 2 lines that was on a recorded
and
device.
Then a few extra scenes where she just shows her face. Like, that's it.
She had like a day's worth of acting.
And then a bunch of other people we don't know.
Yeah, and none of them are important.
It's just, well, nobody's important. That kind of feels like the entire point of this movie is that nobody's important. This movie feels like nihilism.
Probably, yeah. Okay, sure. I'm with that. So, okay, spoiler. I mean, like, would you recommend it?
No, I wouldn't recommend somebody going and paying to see this. If you want to go see a good space movie, go watch, I think it was Gravity with George Clooney.
You liked Gravity?
I enjoyed it a hell of a lot more than I enjoyed this. That's saying something, because Gravity was pretty bad.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Gravity was really bad, but I still enjoyed it. There were still enough moments where I went to actually get a reaction out of me over this movie, where I sat there silent the entire time.
Yeah, I agree. I've been watching The Expanse.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So it's like The Expanse and this, and it's like sort of the same stuff, and it's like
yeah, go watch The Expanse or go read the books because they're better.
The Expanse is on Amazon
and
Prime.
Gravity was better than this. Interstellar was way better than this.
Gravity and Interstellar, yeah, this one just is boring.
It had half of the good stuff from both those movies. The space, it had very good and well depicted space.
Yeah.
Everything else about this movie sucked. Everything else that both Interstellar and Gravity got right sucked in this movie.
Yeah, this one was it was boring. It's like, it's too real about what happens in space.
A little bit. Like, there are moments where you're watching and he's talking about losing, like, this is a minor spoiler, but he talks about losing sensation and
that's not a spoiler,
fine
really.
Motor function in his fingers during the space flight. And it's like,
he's been out there for too long.
Yeah, they have exercises specifically trained for astronauts who are in long space flights to keep these things going, and you're telling me you're not doing any of them?
You're telling me they don't have like a treadmill or something out there because they've developed stuff for resistance in space for long flights. They knew where they were going.
And this guy's like supposed to be top echelon, best of the best, got handpicked by Spec Ops to do this mission, and he's not doing anything an actual astronaut is trained to do. Yeah,
so he's just kind of hanging out.
So it feels useless. His character feels kind of empty. No, I would not recommend this. If you're going to pirate it to watch it, go right ahead.
Yeah, I'm sort of the same way. I mean, like, if you really love Brad Pitt, or you really love space movies, then I guess.
If you want to see Brad Pitt and you like Brad Pitt, just go watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, sure.
Much better movie, has much better scenes of Brad Pitt.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, that was a good movie. Okay, spoilers. For Ad Astra, because we're gonna do that.
You have 1 page of notes this time?
I got 2.
Oh, you
got
did get 2? Okay, I didn't see you flip the page. What did you take notes of? I'm so curious.
Just stuff. So the thing that we see him on at the very beginning, he is on the International Space Antenna,
which, by the way, is fucking dumb.
Which is currently impossible with our current technology. However, this is the future. So
the near future.
Ooh,
where we also have laser guns. Yeah.
And that's kind of cool. So I don't know what the space antenna does, but everyone's having a good time.
It's apparently an antenna. I'd assume radio communications of some sort.
Yeah, it's giant. It sticks off the ground. It's like a space elevator, and it works. And
until it doesn't.
I guess I don't know how you get up there. If you actually have to take like a rocket ship, or do you get an elevator, or do you have to do a ladder all the way up?
Jesus Christ, that would scare me so much.
Yeah, when you're up in space like that, are you still afraid of heights?
At that point, I'd guess not, because if you're gonna fall, you're dead anyways. Except for the fact they have parachutes.
Yeah, they didn't die.
Really smart. That's actually one of the first things I noticed in this movie that I really liked was They have parachutes. That's like the smartest thing anybody in these movies have ever done.
I mean, why wouldn't they have parachutes?
Gravity didn't have parachutes.
Well, that's...
They were up in the ISS, I guess, but still,
Sandra Bullock should have died in Gravity, by the way.
Yes, she should have. She was saved by Ghost Clooney twice.
Yeah, it's bullshit. That was the reason why that movie... That wasn't the only reason, but that was a big reason.
That was a very big reason why that movie sucked. They killed off the one good character in the beginning of the movie, and then they Deus Ex Clooney'd her twice. Sorry, we're done with Gravity.
Alright, so power surge, and then explosions on the antenna, and everyone bails off of that, and then that starts our whole plot along, because we find out that Brad Pitt's father was part of Project Lima back 16 years ago, and he had to go out past out of the sun's heliosphere to get clearer communications to look for alien life, and so he had to go clear out to Neptune to do this, which is a really fucking far away. So far.
They said at the end of the movie it's like 17 million miles or something like that.
I don't know.
I know they said some number and I really wanted to fact check it, but then I forgot because how dumb the ending of this movie was.
It's gotta be something like 60 some astronomical units away. Yeah. Everything's double, and so Earth is 1 astronomical unit, and then Mars is 2. And then the asteroid belt, and then Jupiter would be 8, and then Saturn 16, and then Neptune would be 32.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how it works.
I didn't actually know that. I'm gonna have to look that up now.
No, it's math.
I believe
took
you.
astronomy, man.
I believe you. I really do want to see like a chart of this and actually read up on it because I didn't actually know that.
Yeah, college level astronomy.
Nice. Fucking nerd.
Yeah, space is awesome, dude.
Space is pretty awesome.
And so let's see what happens. There's some sort of antimatter pulse or something that's coming that's never really explained.
Yeah, they don't explain half the shit that actually happens in this movie. Like 90% of the tech they just kind of hand wave away.
Yeah.
Like what are those? There are 3 points in this movie. You see somebody holding this little flashlight looking thing that has a cone on the front of it.
It looked like a gun. I think that was the gun.
No, because he's using it to scan for like a heartbeat in that ship. But they also had it in the conference room.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it's a heartbeat sensor, but they don't ever say that. They just kind of use it, and we're supposed to pick up on that. And it's...
Yeah, sure, guys.
And then laser guns.
Can you label it or something? I don't know.
It's like you could show us more in detail what it is, and then there's like laser guns.
Sir, can we scan you for your heartbeat or something? Just drop a line.
A hint, something. And then like laser guns. That just work.
It's the future. How else are you supposed to fight on the moon?
Yes, and I'm actually really glad they used laser guns instead of ballistic weapons, because those I would have called bullshit on so quick.
Yeah.
But it's just a lot of the tech in this movie feels ill-explained and ill-defined.
Yeah, okay, so there's a global power surge.
Yes, sorry.
And that comes from Neptune.
Yes.
Which Neptune just like farted in the general direction of the interior of and we all got caught up in it.
Yeah.
And that was caused by, we come to find out, that was caused by Tommy Lee Jones fighting with some dude, as he explains it. And he's like, oops, sorry, I'm trying to stop that now, because it keeps happening.
Yeah.
And infrequently. There's no...
And it's not consistent.
Yeah, and the spurts are not consistent.
And they don't knock out stuff consistently at all, because at one point in the movie, it's knocking out half of Earth's power grid, and then the other half, it's hitting his pod close range and doing nothing.
It's fine. Just reboot it. Turn it on, turn it off. It's back to normal.
And it's inconsistent, and they never explain why this thing has an antimatter drive. They never explain why that's necessary or if that's common, because 90% of the rockets in this movie seem to just use fuel propulsion, like solid fuel propulsion, I'd assume.
Yeah, getting out to, because we're firmly in spoilers now, getting out to Neptune and then getting all the way back, but then he used the explosion, but that didn't seem like, I guess?
Yeah.
But that's a long ways, man.
Well, there's also nothing really... I guess, like, the gravity wells are kind of stopping him, but he's got no other opposing forces but the other planet's gravity's acting on him. So
that's assuming the planets are lined up properly.
This is
I
assuming...
think we forget that.
Yeah,
they aren't
also
necessarily in the right spot.
Just like when they're leaving from Moon to Mars.
Yeah.
There's a lot of calculations that go into doing a shot that far because we're all moving. And it feels like they're just like, oh yeah, you're leaving in a day. It's like...
it's a good thing that Mars is on the correct side of the sun.
Yeah, it's good
imagine
thing
if it were on the wrong side.
It's a good thing we don't have to shoot straight through the fucking sun.
Yeah.
And it's just dumb stuff like that where it's just so convenient.
No, haven't you ever seen the map? All the planets are lined up right next to each other all the time.
Yeah, and Mars is in retrograde.
Uh-huh.
Or whatever. It's just, it feels so dumb.
I don't know. So... yeah, everyone assumed Dad was dead.
Yeah.
But except for Command, who's like, nah, he's alive.
He's alive. We just don't give a shit about him because he could ruin our image.
Yeah, he's hanging out on the edge of space, but whatever.
Yeah, it's like, let him do his research.
We've never had any intention of actually going out there until right now.
Yeah, when your son's just qualified enough to go do it, and just almost died.
Yeah, I don't know. So, a lot of this movie is about Brad Pitt dealing with his father abandoning his family.
Yeah,
and he's got daddy issues, kinda.
Yeah, and it got old in the first part of the movie.
Yeah, for being coming from a single parent family, I'm just like, dude, deal with it.
Yeah, get the fuck over yourself. Come on.
I don't know.
Like, none of us, me and you both come from single-parent homes, and it's like, no, sorry, dude, get the fuck over yourself. Move on.
It's just...
you got a good parent. Take what you can get.
Yeah, did you like your mom?
Yeah, like, you act like your dad leaving was the end of your fucking world. I'm sorry. If that was really the end of your world, you have a very limited scope.
Yeah, and so he has problems with his own relationships, which I could sort of... maybe that's...
yeah, that makes some sense, but, like, he hyper-fixates on the fact that his dad left, how much he doesn't want to become like his dad, and it's just annoying because it becomes the entire plot of the movie.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, that's kind of something you sprinkle in for flavor, almost. You don't make that your entire plot is daddy issues, because it gets old.
Daddy issues and stuff, and then, so the plot moves forward, and we have him talking. He talks to Command, and they say your dad might be out there, so we're going to send you on the super covert mission, but you first got to fly to the moon.
Yeah.
And you can fly commercial, though. Not even first class. I assume there's only
I'd assume there's no first class, considering a pillow and a blanket cost him $125 fucking dollars.
I'm curious.
Justin was dying on...
How much do the peanuts cost?
I heard you say that, and I wanted to look over at you and make snarky comments, but there was somebody literally right in front of us.
Oh, I'm sure she wanted peanuts, too.
Wow, that...
yeah.
Oh, man. $125 fucking dollars for a pillow and a blanket on a flight to the moon.
Yeah. Like, how many flights do you guys have that go up there? Like... isn't that included in the cost?
They gotta make their $1 million rockets back somehow, I guess.
Fucking Virgin Atlantic. Or whatever they...
Fucking Delta.
No, they said Virgin. It was...
oh, really?
They mentioned Virgin.
Oh my god, that's great. I wonder how much they paid for that.
I don't know, but you know who else paid for stuff? DHL and Subway.
I saw Subway and I was like, how much did they pay for that product placement?
They both have franchises on the moon, of which, by the way, there's a shit ton of gravity on the moon.
Yeah, the moon looks like a fucking tourist trap.
It looks like your most modern airport That
Yeah,
there's kids and shit,
and they're
like,
taking pictures with an alien in a cardboard cutout, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Really want an update on how that Area 51 raid is going on right now? If anyone knows,
coming at you live.
Call us in and call in. We'll put you on the air live.
Yeah,
not really. We're not live.
I just this part of the movie just kind of weirded me out because it doesn't feel like it fits.
And then they're like, okay, so you're on the moon now, but then you got to go out to this other. You got to get on these dune buggies
and go to the dark side of the moon.
And then go out to the dark side of the moon, and then all of a sudden there's like space pirates in their own dune buggies.
They bring up like offhandedly that there are wars going on for mining contracts and areas here.
Yeah. And
they just kind of drop that line in the beginning of you getting to the moon, and then you kind of forget about it until the lieutenant brings it up again.
Also that you can have a dune buggy fight.
Yeah, they completely negate the fact there's dune buggy fights involved. Because if there was bumper cars involved on the moon, I'd be in. Come on, let's be for real.
Well, they did do bumper cars.
It was really cool. This is one of the cool parts of the movie, is the fight that goes on. Because it actually feels like a fight going on in space.
I was hoping the movie would be more about this sort of stuff.
Yes. We both watched the same trailers. We're like, dude, this is going to be so cool. Yeah. We kept talking to each other in the car like, we have to see this movie. And then we were just so disappointed.
It's just not that good.
They showed literally the best 3 parts of the movie in the trailer.
Yeah, well, I think there's one other part that I think is really funny.
Okay, then we'll have to wait till we get there, I guess.
Because I don't want to spoil it in the spoilers. Jeez, we're
supposed to keep in the timeline, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm doing. So, but they're just walking around in the moon base thing.
Yeah,
and it's like they're not bouncing.
They're walking around normally. It feels wrong.
They take the fucking stair. Not what is it? God damn it! I can't think of the word. Escalator. That's the one. They take that up. Donald Sutherland's there, and he's just like, "I'm here to escort you." Oh, he shows up on Earth, and then he's like, "I'm here to escort you, and I used to work with your dad." And then he drops some nuggets of information for us.
I hated this character so much.
And then he's so old, and it's like, you're seriously gonna go all the way out there in your 80 or something? He's set in his 70s.
And then let's talk about the space part some, because
the dune buggies.
Because the dune buggies were really cool.
So the dune buggies are driving around, and then there's 2 bogies on the left, and then 2 bogies on the right,
and then people are getting shot at. And the way they handle projectiles moving from impacts. Yeah. Just the way they just tear through everything was super cool, because that's exactly what would actually happen. They're moving so fast because there's no air resistance. There's not really much gravity.
They weren't kicking up any dirt, though. That was weird.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
It's like, haven't you seen the home movies from...
Yeah, from the Area 51 stage. But...
They did it better 50 years ago.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Actually, nearly 60.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's been that long.
And it just... I don't know, it looked really cool. It felt...
We're gonna go to the moon because we can film it better than the Russians.
That was actually a really good impression.
Thank you.
It just, I don't know, this entire driving fight scene, it feels like a gang fight going on the moon.
Yeah, it did.
And it felt good to watch. The sound design was really good in this scene because there wasn't a lot of it. So
they took, our protags here had 3 dune buggies. Mm-hmm. The other 2 were just driving interference. I don't know what they...
Yeah,
they had guys, but they weren't gunships or anything like that. They just drove around.
It didn't feel like they did anything except for die.
Yeah. I think that's what their point was. I don't even know who was occupying them.
Yeah, because the only 3 named characters were on the same one.
Yeah, and then the driver died, and then the only 2 people only our 2 main people survived, Donald Sutherland and Brad Pitt. And it was just... And Brad Pitt, some really cool driving.
Some nice space drifting.
Space drifting. Yeah, well, he hit the brakes on one, and a guy, one guy was going to ram him, and he hit the brakes, strategic, and the guy just went too far and ran into some solar panels. And then he did get T-boned into a crater, but... No gravity, man.
So he spun like a top and like a glove, landed that shit in the crater and then drove it away.
It was like, boom, yeah, bitch.
What you gonna do now? And then 2 missiles come up out of the base they're going to and hit the little doom buggies.
If you know that this is a war zone, why did you not have any armed soldiers with you? Or why were they not prepared to do something? Like, should you have had a 50 cal laser gun on the back of one of these
50 cal laser gun?
I don't know.
Just
like
something.
a Humvee.
Yeah,
Come
no,
on. Make a fucking Humvee in space.
I agree. Like, there was no real weapons. The driver seemed to have a gun, but he was like the only one apparently, because what's his name had to steal his gun out of his corpse and then shoot the guys.
It's like, give me a gun. And he's like,
nah, bro, fuck you.
I'm driving here.
And it's
2
like,
hands on the wheel. I can't do it.
Brad Pitt is the ultimate Deus Ex fuck you to this movie, but at the same time, he's also supposed to be like an emotionally defenseless character.
Yeah, I don't know. Man.
I don't really like it.
I don't know. And so anyway, they make it safe back to Space Command or wherever, the moon base.
Yeah, the moon base on the dark side of the moon.
Newt Gingrich's moon base. and so, or is it Dr. Evil's moon base? They're sort of the same guy.
$1 million. 1 million antimatter pulses. Ooh.
And so then they... that's where Donald Sutherland, he's having heart palpitations because he did that. He's like, man, floating through space was crazy.
His character lasted all of 4 scenes.
Yeah. I mean...
And said like 10 lines.
And so he manages to tell Brad Pitt that that Space Command doesn't trust him. And that he gives him the USB thing. And then on the USB thing, it shows his dad, so it shows Tommy Lee Jones do like some of what he was all about,
like his last communication to what's his
Space
name?
Command
and it's just
Space Command,
Starship Troopers. It's like his last communication to them, and I honestly don't remember what was on that one. The only one I remember was the one later on Mars.
Yeah,
well, I don't really think anything important came because it doesn't get mentioned again.
No, not really. I mean, it's just everything's just like, hey, they don't really trust you. It's like, oh, okay, now go die.
Okay, go into surgery now and die. Bye.
And so Donald Sutherland was supposed to be his security blanket, Brad Pitt's security blanket, but it's like he's super old. He's in space now.
And Brad Pitt literally does say this in the movie in his like inner monologue.
Yeah,
it's like, this guy's supposed to be my security blanket, but he can't do this. He's just as scared, and he's so old. It's like, no shit. And then we get onto this ship that's supposed to take him to Mars.
And it's got scientists.
Scientists, long hauler. He calls them like scientists, engineers, and long haulers or whatever. And it's like, what the fuck ever?
All right.
And then they start popping pills.
Yeah. Mood
stabilizers, I think they said they were, or something like that. And
antidepressants.
And it's like, hey, give me one of those, Candyman, says the fucking captain of your ship.
It's like, oh, this feels right.
And Brad Pitt like kind of walks away, stashes the pill.
Yeah, like later or something.
Doesn't want to take it. It's so weird. Like this set of scenes feels super awkward.
It feels like, okay, so he's the most experienced, except these guys are long haulers that were like on the moon or whatever, and this is what they do. And so you would think they would be the ones that are more used to this, but Brad Pitt's the more you know what he reminds me of?
Remember how they were like, Jason Bourne he doesn't panic in a fight. He's always calm. His BP never raises.
Yeah.
That's what this character feels like it's trying to be, except for it goes from his BP never raises to I'm having an emotional crisis, depending on the scene.
Sure, okay.
Because they even say, like, during your space flights, your BP never went above 80. And it's like why does this matter? Okay, he's level-headed. I'm sure he's a sociopath.
He seems a little... he's a little off.
And then, we see it multiple times during the movie where he'll just go stone cold and actually get the job done without panicking. And it's like, shouldn't you all fucking be like this?
You would
Like,
think.
shouldn't that be part of the training to get this calm and collected to do stuff, to not panic under pressure? Because both captains of this ship wind up panicking under pressure and almost getting the entire crew killed.
The one captain gets his... Doesn't he die?
He does get his face bitten
Yeah.
off by space baboons, which I don't even really want to go into space baboons because it's a bunch of bullshit.
No, you need to because it's the stupidest part of this movie.
Okay, go into space baboons because I'm just gonna go off on a limb and say he panicked and didn't pull his gun and that's why he died.
First man to Jupiter, and so his father was the first guy to get out to Jupiter. Tommy Lee Jones, first guy to get out to Jupiter, and then he's first guy to get out to Saturn, and then he's dead.
Congratulations!
Congratulations! And and so then we're in between Earth and Mars,
or the Moon and Mars.
Well.
I'm
lumping the
Earth
two
and Mars.
together.
Okay, fair enough.
It's not like the moon and Earth are really all that far apart.
They are, though. There's a lot of miles there, man.
I can see it from my doorstep.
I can technically see Mars from my doorstep, your point.
It's closer than... No, that's not true. I don't...
Closer than my ego to my head.
We get there's a Norwegian something or rather ship.
It was like
the Norwegian space program
it
was a thing.
Wasn't it like an animal testing ship or something? They said it was something really dumb orbiting an asteroid.
It had 26 on board and the scientific research, and for some reason they decided to have baboons on there, and there was a rat as well. A rat was just floating around dead.
Oh, I completely missed that.
Oh, I sort of chuckled. I said, "Hey, that's a rat." and then the baboons showed up, and the Norwegian spaceship, and then Brad Pitt and the other dude and the captain head on over. They do a spacewalk, and they just jump over to the Norwegian ship,
which seems sketchy as all hell, to be honest with you.
I guess if you have the little jetpack thing that
we saw how well that went for Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, that's true. She probably ran out. Did she run out? She
did. Twice. She ran out twice.
Of course. Women never check the gas levels.
Oh.
Just saying. Nah. I love you ladies. and so they end up jumping over to the other station. There's like knock, no answer. And so then they're like, okay, we got a breach. And so then they just open the door.
They use a Mayday code, which, by the way, if there are space pirates, which there probably are,
I don't know how you would...
Mayday code...
Where would you get... It'd be like space privateers. Because...
Yeah, I guess so, because pirates can't really exist. But, like, they have these areas on the moon where different companies apparently own it.
Yeah, I don't...
That's the part that I don't get, is why the fuck are we fighting for resources on the moon?
You know that we don't have to sell it to people we don't like. And yeah, I mean, it's like the only way you could get up there, you have to have your own space program. So everyone has to be super legit just to get up there.
Yeah, it means your economy has to be not fucked to do it.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I don't know how it works.
And they kind of make it seem like the world is okay.
With all the fighting?
The fighting? And it's like, no, the world would not be okay with this. The UN, or whatever the equivalent is for interplanetary issues, would have issues with this, or something.
You would hope so.
I would.
Like, it's fine.
Nah, fuck them. Unlimited power.
Also, I'm curious. Everyone's always talked about mining on the moon. I have no idea what's on the moon to mine.
Helium.
Okay. That's got to be it. That's the only thing.
There's got to be other stuff there, but helium
There's
is
no
there.
metal.
Yes.
And so it's got to
it's got to be a lot of really random minerals and different types of
yeah, because the moon is just made up of Earth's crust.
Yeah.
It's the same shit. And so we don't want our own dirt. So, you know.
Yeah, we want their dirt.
Yeah.
It's got stuff in it.
Yeah. So I mean, it's it doesn't have a metal core or anything like that.
We're having a helium shortage. Maybe they just want more birthday balloons.
Yeah.
Just saying.
That's gotta be it. So like helium-3 or something. I guess as a fuel. Brad Pitt and Captain go on a spacewalk. They get over there. They open the door, and they're like, "Hey, anyone home?"
And
Lights
then
are on,
they
no one's home.
fucking split up.
They never split the party.
Never.
And these two, they would not split the party.
No, Brad Pitt's character absolutely would not.
And then all of a sudden, the guy his radio goes silent. He's not even saying anything. Cap ain't saying anything. Pitt's like, "Hey, you there?"
What the fuck are you?
And there's no answer.
And then he pulls out the heartbeat sensor thing that we brought up earlier and starts like looking around.
I just got one of these things.
And apparently gets a bead on him, comes around the corner. He sees him just kind of seizing in the middle of an airlock.
Why didn't that register the baboon heartbeat?
I think that is what it registered. I think that's why he noticed it was there, because the baboon was right there. Okay,
because there's 2 baboons.
Yes, but I'm guessing the other one just kind of appeared out of hammer space because they needed dramatic tension.
Hammer space?
Have you never heard that term before?
No.
It's like comic book characters who pull weapons out of nowhere. It's hammer space.
Okay. Yeah, I figured that's what it was.
It just, I don't know, because the other baboon just shows up out of fucking nowhere randomly.
And what have these things been eating? How long has this been happening?
Yeah, how long's the Mayday been going on? They said it was fairly
26
recent.
people couldn't take out 2 space baboons?
We assume it was only 2. We don't really get to know.
Maybe the mouse helped.
The fucking rat. It spread the plague again.
Fucking
damn it!
Space rats. Space rats and space baboons.
The space bubonic plague.
And space idiots.
Well, that's just everybody.
Yeah, it's normal. See, you don't even have to be on Earth. They exist in space, too. Can't get away from them anywhere.
That's depressing.
I've always thought, I just want to go somewhere and start up my own colony of smart people. Well,
and then you realize the idiots are there, too.
They show up, yeah.
They show up. It's almost like they were there the entire time, Justin.
They're like rats that the colonists took to, or the explorers took to the islands. Easter Island used to be covered in trees, and now it doesn't have a single tree on it because the rats.
Those motherfuckers.
So, Brad Pitt saves. He doesn't save. He just brings back the corpse.
Yeah,
of Cap, and then we know nothing else. We're just like, all right, we're going to abandon this. And
then they jettison the corpse out with a spacesuit on that has a new helmet.
Yeah, I gotta make him look good.
Because the helmet, unless they pulled down the shade visor,
maybe that's
I guess.
What it was.
But even still, you're throwing out a perfectly good spacesuit.
He don't need it anymore.
He did. He don't need it. Repurpose.
But it also seems weird that they wouldn't just keep him somewhere. I mean, I don't know what space protocol is about corpses.
I don't really know what could be done, because it feels like one of those things where it's unnecessary weight, unnecessary room to have a place to store dead bodies.
In space, there's no weight.
Re-entry does matter.
It doesn't seem like it matters very much.
Not for the rest of this movie, but for this, it does seem like it matters, because they don't have a meat cooler full of bodies for some reason.
That's true. They don't probably have a morgue on board.
Which I'd assume for bigger spacecrafts, like the Nostromo from Dead Space, you would have to have a morgue on there.
Oh, yeah.
But for these things that look oddly similar to what we've been using in recent history.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels... The tech gap feels so weird in this movie because it looks realistic until you actually look at the tech, and then you're like, wait, that's not what? Because you got laser guns, you have a bunch of random different types of multi-stage rockets that somehow work. Just, it feels cobbled together in a lot of places.
Yeah, I agree with that. So Brad Pitt's now angry on the ship.
Yeah.
And he's like, I just gotta compartmentalize it all. Mm-hmm. And put it in an airlock and shove it out like that body. Take all my anger with you.
Yeah. Fuck you, dead guy. Take my anger. Let the hate flow into the dead guy.
Oh, what? Okay, so the baboons got exploded.
Yeah.
How did that happen? What happened there? Do you know?
See, at first I thought he just opened the other side of the airlock.
Yeah, and you would see him
because they would just get sucked out and freeze.
Yeah.
But he, decompressed it, but that doesn't work in space.
Yeah, no. And so you see the baboon through the little window. He's like, I'm going to kill you.
And then explodes.
And then just explodes. And it's like,
but
what?
Decompression doesn't work that way in space.
Yeah,
Because there's no air pressure to clap back to give it another pressure wave.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have exploded. It would have frozen over and bloated. Like, we know what happens to bodies when they hit space. We know what happens to bodies in a vacuum.
Director David McCode, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah,
you got
whatever.
a funny thing on over the O. Yo, I got questions.
Yeah,
bro.
do better.
I got questions.
So yeah, the monkey's head decompresses and he dies, apparently, and then they leave, and
then they just peace out, and
they
like,
peace out to Mars with a
don't worry about it, guys. It's fine.
with the new with the co-pilot taking over as captain, though he wasn't ready to begin with, and now definitely isn't ready.
How did that guy make it to space?
I don't fucking know. This character pissed me off more than anybody else because he's just incompetence put into a person.
Yeah.
He just
And
feels
there's no other way of saying that. I agree with you.
He's
so bad.
He did not do a damn thing.
No, he was a fuck
Literally
up through
the
and through.
entire time he's on screen. The captain does everything.
Are they just handing out driver's license or space flight licenses?
They already hand out driver's licenses like they're candy, dude. So
well, I would hope that they would raise the bar a little bit, but no. This is the future.
See,
the bar is even lower.
They bring up Space Command and how there's a branch of the military for space. I'd assume he just joined the army and got in.
I know somebody.
They'll give any idiot a rifle in the army. So
that's true. So space nepotism is a thing now.
Space nepotism.
Whatever. I'm an astronaut.
Yeah, apparently. And for some fucking reason, they let him fly the plane and try landing on Mars, and they almost kill everybody.
Yeah, because there's another surge as they're landing on Mars. Conveniently, and he's tenses up, and the spaceship, it needs to land perfectly upright, and it starts going 20 degrees off kilter, and you're like,
Pretty
okay,
major.
we're all gonna die.
Yeah, this is gonna kill us.
And he starts shitting himself, and
Brad Pitt's like, you fucking rookie, and takes the stick and does it.
Yeah, and then he's like, I'm not gonna turn you in. I was like, dude, you should.
Yeah, he abso-fucking-lutely should. For somebody who is to the books and has a perfect record, you're sure as fuck not looking like it.
Yeah, man. I mean, the guy nearly killed you and everyone else on there, and destroyed the ship, and probably would have destroyed the landing pad. Or whatever.
And maybe some other collateral damage. How big would the explosion be? We don't fucking know.
But don't worry about it, man. I got this.
Yeah, I got you, boo. Lands that spaceship.
Yeah, and so Martian immigration.
The only good part about this was what's her name behind the desk, because she plays the same character in every fucking movie.
I recognize her. I don't know what she's done.
She was in Orange is the New Black. She's been in a lot of stuff.
She's funny.
I don't remember her name.
Yeah, I don't know who she is.
And she doesn't look like she's credited.
Female flight attendant? No. Arjun Darwala, nope.
Nah, we're not gonna bother looking. It doesn't really matter.
She was funny.
She was just snarky and sarcastic as fuck, and just no shit's given when she was talking to everybody.
It's like, is this what? I mean, she's
hand it
easier than normal immigration.
Yeah, hand it here, give it here, and takes the paperwork, looks over it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
and she's like, put your hand here. Put your hand here. Oh, thanks, doll. Put your hand there and walk. And it's like, okay, immigration was super easy to Mars, apparently.
I guess.
Like, it took 5 minutes and they were all through. I went through customs 3 times in Canada. Never once did I just walk through customs. Yeah. Not a single time.
When, way back in the day, yeah, you just used to go back and forth between Canada and it was nothing. They would just, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, just here. Okay, bye. I was like, sweet.
I'm gonna go drink. 19. What do you think I'm doing?
There was nothing. I mean, it really. You didn't need passport. You didn't need a super ID.
Back in your day.
Yep. Way back in the day. Back in my day.
Back in my day.
So communicate from Mars, and
this annoyed me a lot.
Yeah, because after we get landing, then we get to communicate from Mars with a message.
Because they repeat that scene like 3 to 4 times with like 2 minutes of B-roll in between of him in like the comfort rooms and doing other stuff, and it was a waste of time.
Yeah. So we had then Brad Pitt's on Mars to try to communicate with his father at some off like black site place.
Yeah.
on Mars.
And he's communicating using a closed laser communication system and trying to just make his dad respond.
It's scripted.
Yeah, and he is scripted, and on the last attempt he does...
He goes off script.
Yes.
Brad Pitt, that trailblazer.
And he goes off script, and then there's some commotion in the background, and then he's brought off the mission.
It would have been... So, it would take, like, an hour or something, or
it would take some amount of time
to get a communication back. And I guess Brad Pitt's just been sitting there the whole time.
Yeah, because it looked like he was pacing around the room at some point, and it just, I don't know. It's really hard to judge anything in this movie when it comes to time because they jump cut so fucking much.
So after you send the message, and they could have just recorded it once and then just put that on repeat or something, because he's reading the same script over and over again. But then they keep him in that room just in case they get a communicate back. And it's like, you couldn't have just let him go sit on the couch?
Another thing, the room they're in looks like the world's quietest room, which is a place on Earth that you can go to. I think it's in, like, Minnesota.
Oh.
It looks just like that room, except in the actual one, they don't have that giant window.
Yeah.
Why? What's the point of being in a completely silent room like that?
I don't know.
For a message that you could just be in a normal sound booth for.
The world's quietest room. Yeah, it does look just like that. It might actually be.
They might have actually filmed there.
Cool. Can I just do world's quietest room add Astra?
It feels weird.
Vanity Fair on Twitter. Brad Pitt is off to I don't know. World's quietest room add Astra. Add Astra director says cosmic sounds helped create blah 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 blah. Nothing. Fine.
Yeah,
I don't care.
It doesn't really matter.
It looks right. It also
just
looked like it was like Mars rock. We're creating some of this stuff.
And they used weird light, like they used red lighting for the entire time they're on Mars. It's like nobody would use that because that fucking sucks for your eyes, for one. Pure red light, really bad for your eyes.
Yeah. So, as Brad Pitt got off the plane to Mars, he meets up with Ruth Nega's character.
Yes.
And then she just kind of shows up and then is sidetracked, or she just gets thrown off.
And it does a random, like, a follow shot as she walks away from him.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, she's going to be important in about 5 minutes.
But don't worry about it, because she only has 5 minutes worth of anything to say, because everyone outside of Brad Pitt
it's unimportant and sucks.
Just here to deliver this little bit of information, and then after that, forget about him. And so, yeah, Dad responds at, and then there's a kerfuffle and a commotion, and then they find out that Dad, or they say, "Hey, Brad Pitt, you got to go back to Earth now. Bye."
Yeah, go to a quiet room, relax.
And I kind of like the comfort rooms.
I didn't. Those things gave me anxiety.
Well, yeah, a little bit too. But at the same time, when you're on Mars or the moon or stuff, I mean, those might actually work.
Yeah, maybe. But to me, I kept looking at them and going, if you put me in that room, I'm going to actually kill somebody.
Probably, yeah.
Because those just feel like the rooms you put somebody who's just going to stab somebody else.
Uh-huh. And by the way, again, gravity on Mars. Perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's not like they're any heavier or any lighter. No, it looks just like Earth. Why not?
And, in the Expanse, they at least have, like, skinnies and stuff.
Poor skinnies.
And, well, at least they make sense.
Yeah.
And if you're going to walk around in space, you have the boots. That they always have the boots on. But in any of this, they're like, nah, just forget about it. It's normal gravity on Mars and the moon.
And there's a scene later in the movie where he's standing on the outside of one of the ships. Yeah. And it looks like he's maglocked to the ship.
Yeah.
But he's wearing normal space boots.
He would be floating off. Oh, you would think.
Yeah, you would think. But it just looks like he's just maglocked there because he's not being thrown off at all. And again, you're in space. You are constantly moving.
Yeah.
And it just looks like he's standing there. It's dumb. Like, it's inconsistent with its good physics.
Some of the space stuff is really good. Some of the space stuff sucks. It's
using a panel from the ship as a shield to fly through.
I kind of liked it, and I kind of hated it.
I looked at it and went, that's kind of cool if I suspend all disbelief that one of those rocks would punch straight through that shield and you.
It was dented to shit at the end, though.
It didn't really look like it to me. I didn't really...
it was pretty well dented. It was bent in places.
Just, to me, it just felt so dumb.
It kind of was, but
it was the end of the movie. I just wanted it to be over at that point. So
it's a good thing he knew where his ship was. He had good aim.
Yeah, he aimed perfectly. There was nothing that knocked him off course. He hit exactly where he wanted to go. Couldn't see shit. Perfect.
Yeah, Dad responds. Then he's like, "Okay, you gotta go back to Earth." And then Ruth Negga shows up again, and she's like, "Hey, your dad and my parents." I was born here on Mars. I went to Earth one time, and now, but I came back for some dumb reason. And my parents were on the ship with your dad, and we do have one last communication from your dad, and this is what happened.
And apparently his dad suppressed a mutiny by cutting off the fucking life support to half of the station.
Yeah.
He literally stopped a mutiny by cutting the life support to the crew that was trying to go home.
Yep. Because Dad doesn't give a shit about
Because he does not care about anything else other than finding extraterrestrial life outside of Earth.
Yeah. Which is, okay, I mean, I guess, but...
And apparently her parents were caught in the crossfire.
Oops. Well, yeah, we don't know if they were innocent or not. They might have been part of the
there was also another, apparently he only killed, half of his crew, because he brings up later that another part of his crew was with him until the end.
Yeah. Because, that's who he fights with that
to
sets
start
off
the surge.
The
and
surge.
it's like, so you killed half your crew. Your other half of the crew was okay with this, and then fought with you, 10 years later?
I don't know.
And you left the bodies floating around?
Yeah, he didn't do any kind of cleanup at all.
We're going to have to come back to that, actually. Let's get through Mars real quick.
So, let's see. So, Brad Pitt now wants onto this ship. The ship just has the same 3 people that he showed up with. So the shit new captain, and 2 random scientist people, Asian guy and black lady.
Yeah, that's all we get on them. And they're both pill poppers, just like the one dude. And
yeah. And so then Ruth Negga drives him out there in a
service tunnel.
Dune buggy. That the service tunnel's filled with water?
I don't get that. I think they're making a Mars has water reference, but at the same time, it's no, those are at the poles, which you're obviously not at because there's no ice.
No.
What are you doing?
That was a lot of water.
Yeah, he was literally swimming in it.
Yeah.
And it did not look like it ended anytime soon.
No, he just kept going and going and going.
Part of me wants
weird.
Part of me wants to think that was gray water, but then it makes it even worse.
Yeah, I didn't see any turds floating around. There were things floating around.
There was definitely stuff floating in there, and I don't know. But he then climbs to an outside airlock, unlocks it while the ship is taking off.
Yeah, that's handy.
Doesn't die from the heat of the engines going off underneath him.
Yeah.
He climbs in, locks it while the alarms are going off everywhere.
Yeah, and then everyone just unstraps real quick
and goes to kill him.
And he's like, "Hey, everyone.
I come in peace.
I come in peace," and they're like, "Fuck off.
Live long and prosper." Oh, you're gonna stab me? Good thing the engines just kicked in. Splat.
Oh,
that was such a good kill.
So the black lady and the Asian guy start coming after him 2-on-1, and Brad Pitt's there in his spacesuit, and it's about to be an awesome fight. And then the engines kicked in, and she goes accelerating faster, face first, right into a glass thing, so that we could see it perfectly.
Yeah,
and
an Asian dude gets into a knife fight with
closed casket for her. And then he's got a knife fight. Yeah, God, space knife fight.
Knife fight while the other guy's trying to shoot him. And he shoots some canister on the wall that kills them within 10 seconds.
I think Asian guy got shot in the face or something, through the neck and in the face, because he had a hole in his head, in his face or something.
Then the other guy died by poisoning?
And then then there was a thing that sprayed around, and then I think he suffocated.
Because
and
they're
Brad
like,
Pitt's
no,
like
breathe
trying
into this.
Yeah,
and
here's some oxygen real quick, and then
so
like
dumb.
then he died. And so
Then he jettisons-
incompetent fucking captain guy.
Yeah, then he jettisons the bodies out and continues his 79-day flight.
79 days. All alone.
Over 2 months. Almost 3 months of flying alone in this ship.
That's really fast, because right now we can't get to Mars in less than like 8 months.
Yeah.
And this is from Mars to Neptune.
Which is like outer reaches. What the fuck? Somehow he does that in 79 days, and we get this dumb
without
time-lapse.
slingshots or anything around planet.
Yeah, nothing at all.
They just like, nope, just engines and burn. And it's like, all right.
Out of fuel by the time he gets there.
We assume he's out of fuel, but I mean, you would think they would have fuel to come back unless it was a one-way trip.
I'm assuming that was a one-way trip, because there's no way those guys are going to get back.
It just, I don't know. This is
kind of where the movie falls apart, like even more than it already did.
I thought he should have just been the one-way trip all the way out.
Yeah, he should have just turned the nuke onto his ship and crashed into Lima.
So, Brad Pitt goes out there in this ship to meet his dad
on Project Lima.
On Project Lima, which is hanging out around Neptune, and he gets out there. He's got a nuke. They got nukes on the ship because they're going to go blow up Project Lima.
Why a nuke? Okay. I really want to know why a nuke. Why did they deem a nuke necessary for this? Because any standard explosive would do, but a nuke?
It's a little bit of overkill.
That's a lot of bit of overkill.
You know,
sure. I mean, he had to get back somehow. I guess they figured dual purpose.
It's what I have. Okay, deal with it.
The writer's like, we only have one option for bombs: nuke.
I mean, Mars is only equipped with so much stuff.
Yeah, it's only got nukes from where Elon Musk wants to terraform it.
Yeah. Do you have just like some conventional weapons? No, man.
Just the quartermaster staring at it like a magazine, just like clunks a nuclear warhead down. It's Soviet era.
Sign, please.
Sign right here. He just points at a random spot on the page. Sign right there. Scribbles like 2 cat faces and gets away with a Soviet nuke.
I'm fine. Yes,
yeah, that's what it feels like.
That's totally what happened. It happened off screen. Yeah. That's what happened.
He flies into orbit Neptune on one side of the rings, realizes Lima's on the other side of the rings.
Oops.
So he has to take the nuke onto a small pod
thing. Yeah.
That the ship somehow got in between the moon and Mars. I did not see it at all.
Did it like eject out, or was it always just stuck on there like this appendage? Because it wasn't on the ship when we took off, and that would have ripped off at some point.
And then he just kind of navigates it around. He gets hit by like 3 surges during his flight. Nothing major seems to happen.
Yeah, it just resets his computer or something. And he's like, whatever, man.
I think it damages, it feels like it damages something, but I can't tell if he damaged it when he runs into the side of it on accident, or if it got damaged by the baffling of the...
Yeah, I didn't know where it got damaged, but he couldn't quite dock it to the Project Lima ship.
So he had to do that thing you guys do with rafts when you get out of a river, where you just kind of hopscotch off it and send the raft downriver. That's exactly what he did.
You couldn't just keep that tethered?
Yeah, tether it to the side of the fucking ship.
Come on, man. You got some twine or something?
But no, he takes the nuke onto the ship and proceeds to float around. One of the first things you see is a body with a bag over its head.
Yeah. Like, huh.
What do you think? Because I instantly went to, somebody legitimately got murdered with a bag. But there's so much blood inside of it that it leads me to believe something else happened.
I don't... Maybe that was the guy that was just recently killed by Tommy Lee Jones.
Maybe.
But, I mean, when you live alone, you don't really clean up after yourself. That's... I have a very clean
I was going to say, your apartment looks real nice. I don't know what you mean.
I clean up the dead bodies.
This has been the GreyVillains podcast, everybody. I'm just gonna...
Why are we called the GreyVillains?
just gonna head on out now.
Oh, come back. I really need some help with this.
Oh, fair enough, yeah. I am the tech guy. Somebody's gotta edit.
Yeah. And so why else do I keep you around?
Yeah, fair enough. I have use, therefore I don't die.
Who else is going to fly the plane?
Who else is going to fly the plane? The nuke, apparently.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite lines from The Expanse. Good sci-fi show.
It's really good. It's a really good book series, too.
Amos, my favorite.
Amos is definitely the best character. Sass for days.
So, he's not actually sassy in that at all. He's just very matter-of-fact.
Really?
Yeah.
They give him a lot of sass in the books where he'll say stuff just to piss Holden off.
Oh, no, he's very matter-of-fact. He doesn't have a lot of personality. He's almost a drone in some ways because he lacks right and wrong. And
yeah.
stuff. Anyway, back to this.
We'll discuss Expanse at every time, if you're lucky.
Maybe, maybe after this.
Maybe. Because I've got to go to bed.
Yeah. So, let's see. Capsule damaged. Well, on the ship. Why is Dad not ditching the bodies? I mean,
I don't get
so
that.
Confused.
I don't get that, but at the same time, with his dad looks grizzled as shit. He's got like arthritis in his hands, got cataracts apparently.
He needs to smoke more weed.
He looks grizzled as fuck, and at this point in the movie, I legitimately stopped paying attention.
He probably has a vape pen still.
Just
saying, like, you can't use fire.
Box mod, just a fatty vape cloud. He walks in just to a fat vape cloud hitting him in the face.
Contact highs. Ugh.
I don't know. This entire last part of the movie just makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
Because the dad's at first like, no, I have to keep doing my work. And then he gets coerced into a spacesuit.
And he's like, 30 years and I never once thought about home.
Yeah, like, you go ahead and take this part because I legitimately just don't care.
All right, so Dad's alive, and then Brad Pitt's wandering around, and and then all of a sudden Tommy Lee Jones Brad Pitt puts the nuke onto a thing next to the antimatter chamber because that's a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing that they just kind of casually drop in there.
Yeah, and what is it for? No.
They say it's like a fuel source at some point. Like the beginning of the movie, they're like it had an antimatter fuel source or something like that, and that's all you get.
Oh,
and it's dumb as shit because what engine uses antimatter? How did we get antimatter? How are we using antimatter?
Well, I'd be curious how we were getting enough energy out there with solar panels, being that you're so far.
Yeah, out of the heliosphere.
Yeah, I don't know. So. Whatever. They're
magic.
Energizer
Space
batteries.
Magic.
They got that fucking rabbit.
The rabbit.
Boom, boom, boom. He's just going. And so then Tommy Lee Jones says like, "Hey son, is that you?" And Brad Pitt's like, yeah, hi Dad." And they kind of have a chat a little bit, and it was a very brief chat, and we cut back to it a little bit later. But yeah, he coerces Tommy Lee Jones to get into a spacesuit, which seems kind of weird, because he didn't seem to want to go.
No. And we find out in about 5 minutes he really didn't want to go.
Yeah, and then as soon as they leave the capsule, then Tommy Lee Jones is like, bye, and just takes off in his spacesuit, but they're tethered together, and then he's like, and then they have a old man space fight wrestling thing, and he's just like, let me go, and then Brad Pitt's like, all right, and then he lets him go.
Yeah, so, like, it pisses me off because it just makes no goddamn fucking sense.
It feels like it concludes really fast. And it should have been much more of the movie. If you wanted this to be the movie, then make that the movie. And it seems like they built up to this, and then it just kind of fizzled. Like flame with no oxygen.
This movie was an exercise in futility instead of an exercise of closure.
Yeah.
What was supposed to feel like a set of closure just felt futile to the viewer. Like, Brad Pitt's character, after this, looks like he's got closure. None of the audience did. Because nothing fucking happens.
And so Brad Pitt grabs his information and takes off back to... Well, so then he's like, all right, well, Dad's gone now. and I have to get back to my ship, but I kicked my capsule off because I didn't think I was going to need that again. And so then he's like, how do I get through the rings, of which there are rings on Neptune and Uranus and Jupiter, and Jupiter has very, 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 very small rings, I think. And I think
Uranus.
Yeah. Uranus has rings around it too. Believe it. And Saturn's big ass rings. Yeah, so there's some more science for you.
Science.
We only thought Saturn had rings, but no, all of the Jovian planets have.
Yeah,
rings.
we just couldn't see them just yet.
They're very, very faint, and so Neptune really does have rings. And so Brad Pitt's like, I can see my ship; it's right there. I didn't see anything.
Yeah, I
got this
either.
huge IMAX shit. I can't see anything.
I think you see a shining thing, and I think that's the sun in the distance or something.
How do you know it's not reflecting ice?
And I don't know. This fucking movie just at this point, I just was not invested at all.
It's got GPS locator on or some shit. And
there's a satellite orbiting the outer solar system with GPS on it.
It works. Just go with it, because you gotta go with everything else.
So he rips a fucking panel off of the spinning radar.
Is that a thing? Why do you need spinning radar?
I was just gonna leave it be, but then he fucking Captain America Winter Soldiers his way through the fucking rings.
Yeah, he uses his little jetpack and holds the shield up and just all the way through the rings.
And it looked so dumb, but actually really cool.
It was so badass, dude. I thought, Silver Surfer. I mean, why don't you just throw Silver Surfer out there? That would have been cool.
Yeah, that would have been a great way. And then a Marvel Universe tie-in. Yeah. This guy becomes Galactus. Would have been great. But perfect. He then comes in for a really hard landing on his ship.
Which,
his legs should be shattered as hell.
Can't you slow down a little bit?
No.
You can't turn yourself around and hit your jetpack the other way and slow down a little?
He also has to go leg first into head first the entire time.
And then bang, 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 rolling. Rolling,
what? And he grabs a ladder at the very last minute.
Oh, thank God.
I
was so worried there.
He takes off his spacesuit after getting into the ship, and then has 20 seconds to get as far away from the nuke as he can.
No, I think they cut some time in there, because he set 3 hours.
He did, but then it cuts to 20 seconds. So what were you doing in those, 3 hours?
Taking a piss.
Apparently. Because then he flies...
Cleaning the shit out of my britches.
Then he flies, the 17 million miles back to Earth.
Yeah.
And that's really it. We get a closing scene with him getting pulled out.
Oh. Yeah, it was can't let me... he was talking to his dad... And his dad said, "You can't, you can't let me fail. You didn't. Now we know. Now we know we're all we got."
Yeah.
And so, because it was the search for extraterrestrial life, and out there they didn't find any. So, and that was Tommy Lee Jones, I think, in some ways was like, well, my whole life was for naught.
Yeah.
And so that's why
all his work was for nothing.
And it was like, hey, Dad, come back. And he's like, nah. And then Brad Pitt's like, well, okay, I got closure. And so he goes back and he hooks up with Liv Tyler again. And so she went from space asteroid cowboy guy to a
guy with daddy issues and
a guy with daddy issues. Yeah. Actually, Tommy Lee Jones was in Space Cowboys, wasn't he? That's a movie.
Please tell me he was not in Armageddon.
No, not in Armageddon. There's an actual movie called Space Cowboys.
Wait, are you shitting me?
No. I worked at Blockbuster.
How have I never seen this?
Yeah. Yeah, he was
in Space Cowboys.
Boom! I recognize the cover. I knew that. I never saw that movie.
That is depressing.
Yeah, with Clint Eastwood and some other old fuckers.
I'm gonna need to go watch this because Donald Sutherland, Tommy Lee Jones, Clint Eastwood.
Oh God, yeah, we got Donald Sutherland and Tommy Lee Jones in this. Who's this other guy? I don't know. Who's the cast on this movie? IMDb to the rescue from 2000.
Sorry guys, we're taking a sidetrack. James Garner.
Yeah,
and James Cromwell. James Garner? He was Bond.
Oh, okay. I didn't see those ones.
I'm gonna reach across the table and slap the shit out of you, Justin.
James Bond, I don't like the James Bond movies. I really haven't. I watched some of the old ones, and I'm
pretty sure he was Bond. I'm almost 100% positive he was Bond back in the day.
I guess we'll go like way back.
Yep, way back.
Young Maverick, New Maverick, Rowan, and I don't know. Marlowe, Tonight Show.
These are a lot of fucking movies and shows.
Yeah, well, see, that's when that was back when these guys actually had to work for their money and they didn't get millions of dollars for everything. But they did a bunch of B-list shit.
Space.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's been in a lot of stuff. What the fuck?
I think he's dead now, though. Rockford
Probably.
Files. Yeah, whatever.
He was also in Twilight? No, wrong Twilight.
The other Twilight. That was the prequel of Twilight. Yeah, so Brad Pitt goes back to Earth and then he meets up with his wife at a cafe. And then it's all fine.
That's
it. And then he get... so what happens to Ruth Negga? Because she was supposed to be court-martialed or something.
She committed treason.
We don't know what happened to her. It's not important.
He killed 3 people.
He kills the 3 astronauts.
Breaks direct orders. Steals a spacecraft.
Hero, because he killed his dad or something. The job that the other losers were going to do.
I don't know.
This
fucking
movie,
dumb. What would you rate this movie, Justin?
God, I only want to give it like a 3.
That's all I'm giving it.
Well, it's good. We're on the same page.
Yeah,
we didn't even discuss these things.
I made my mind up when I left the movie theater. It was a 3.
It's just not...
It's got no fucking substance. It's eating a sugar sandwich.
It's as empty as space.
You literally just said exactly what I said in the beginning of the episode, Justin.
I know.
Justin, just for that...
It's the one thing in this empty space inside my head.
Justin, what you said holds no gravity with me.
Gets caught in the cobwebs. That's true.
I'm just... This movie was bad. I would not recommend going and paying for this.
No, it's good acting, I guess. It's just not... the pictures of Jupiter and Neptune are pretty.
They tried really hard. I can tell the writers tried to make something deep and just couldn't follow through.
Yeah, it didn't get there.
It feels like they needed...
It got caught up with space baboons.
Yeah, they really needed less space time. As much as I like space, they needed less of it.
Less space baboons.
Well, no. Having the space baboons, I think they could totally keep that. But
I don't know what else would have happened in between.
Yeah, exactly.
There,
I really think they should have cut out, the first half of this movie and had a lot of it being him and his dad interacting with each other. I think that would have been much more interesting. Those
two trying to find... He gets out there and he's trying to find life. And his dad's like, it's out here. And he's like, Dad, there's nothing in this data. Yeah, and then
trying to convince his dad to go back with him. Something like a character dynamic. Something. But this just had fucking nothing in it.
And then you could even have the third guy that was there that ended up dying because there was a mutiny at one time. And so then that was the last guy. But even that last guy's like, hey, man, I want to go home. And so he's like, all right, come on, Dad, let's go home. And he's like, no, dead. And yeah, that would have been a better movie, I think.
Yeah, just it needed something in it, and it had nothing.
If you want to make it about Brad Pitt and his father, then make it about Brad Pitt and his father. Instead, it had a bunch of voiceover bullshit.
Yeah, and the voiceover stuff got old really quick because it's literally just 3 or 4 lines at a time, and then silence, and you're just hearing background noise.
Yeah.
And Interstellar did that too, but had substance in between it, and also had a good sound design throughout the entire movie.
It had a lot more action.
And had a lot more character interaction. Had a lot more
stuff. Yeah.
Drama.
More fun.
And it's just, this had none of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it had some... Outside of Brad Pitt, everyone else just showed up for a day.
Yeah, it was like a day of shooting for literally everybody else except for Brad Pitt, who had to do 2 days of shooting. The rest of it was CG. It seriously feels like the rest of this movie was just CG.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I'm too busy for this shit.
I've got to go deal with 7 kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. Ad Astra.
Is there anything you'd like to add, Justin?
I go watch The Expanse.
Go watch The Expanse. We can both endorse that.
The Expanse season 4 is coming out in December, and it's already been approved for season 5.
Fuck yes, I have to go catch up on the books.
I binge watched the shit out of 2.5 seasons this week.
You still want the first book?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to get that from you. Yeah,
I'll set a reminder on my phone.
And do not watch The Island on Netflix. The Island is stupid. It's 7 episodes. I'm through 4 episodes. I haven't been very impressed with it, and it's a like sort of Lost and sort of Shutter Island and sort of Inception. And I was hoping it would get better. Maybe it will get better for the last 3 episodes. I don't know. I'll let you know next week if it gets any better. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not hopeful.
I don't have high hopes.
From everything you said, I just instantly was not only disinterested, but kind of disgusted that somebody paid for this to be made.
Yeah, it's like, I looked it up. It was like $2 million an episode or something like that.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Well, it's only 7 episodes, so it's $14 million. But yeah.
That's still not worth that amount of money. People on YouTube have made better content for less.
Yeah, it's really dumb. It's sort of like Lost in that there's a bunch of stuff that they throw in there that doesn't really go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's some other parts that, and then it's Inception in that it's a dream, and it's Shutter Island in that they're trying to make people think, trying to help them become normal again.
Yeah, and it's a weird concept. I haven't watched any of it. I'm just going off what Justin has said. It's a concept that might be able to be executed well, but it just does not sound like a good concept.
The writing is terrible, the dialogue is terrible, and the actors, the only one that you would recognize is the guy who played Cliff from Cheers, the postal dude who sat at the end of the bar with Norm. That's it. Everyone else is a nobody, and they kind of suck. And I just don't like them. But I'm gonna finish it because that's what I do.
Because he tortures himself on a regular basis.
Hey, I finished Dark Crystal too, and that was terrible.
That was horrendous.
It was really bad. I haven't seen anyone else say anything good about that show.
No,
so,
I have not seen a single good review, and it better stay that way.
I did see one guy do a good review. Yeah, it came out like right after, and then there was a whole bunch of comments on YouTube like, "Oh, this is great." I'm like, "Uh-huh." And he was only like, "Oh, well, at least it's got good it's Jim Henson's daughter is part of it, and the puppetry is good, and this stuff." And he never mentioned the writing was good,
exactly,
or the story was good, because it all sucked. And he just mentioned all this peripheral stuff. And he didn't actually say that the meat of the show was anything.
So it's almost like this, where everything looked great, but the actual story and writing sucked.
Yeah. Okay. How about that? Yeah. Interesting.
Imagine that.
Let's see. Do you got anything else
No, I haven't really been up to anything except for playing Borderlands 3, which for anybody who has any doubts, it is worth it. If that's the type of game you're into, go get it. It's worth the money.
It's brand new.
Yeah, it just came out.
Okay. Yeah, and Borderlands has been a big franchise for a couple years now.
And this one is definitely a good homage to the original. It definitely sticks to its roots, and the team really did put their heart and soul into this one.
What is it? What is Borderlands 3? Tell me, because I don't really know.
So, did you play any of them?
No. I kind of stopped playing video games right around when that's coming out.
The entire premise of the series is we are now intergalactic and interplanetary, and there was apparently a race that came before us called the Iridians, and they left these things called vaults all over the place that hold a power. Nobody really knows what it is.
Water
it's just
chips.
Called the power. It's water chips. It's just called, they just describe it as power. Whether it be wealth, influence, fame,
Sweet.
Actual superpowers in some cases. So
that's how Donald Trump became president. He found one of these things.
And there's a group of people called Vault Hunters who go around trying to find these vaults, and you play as Vault Hunters. And it's
Why would you do anything else?
Yeah, exactly. And it's an insane game taking place mainly on a planet called Pandora, which is an eternal anarchy world where bandits roam, and it's
with the blue guys from the fucking movie Avatar. Is there
Close.
Is there a big tree we could cut down?
No, there's actually really no trees. The world feels like
Yeah.
Mad Max.
Oh.
Actually, that's a really good way to describe this series, is Mad Max.
It's kind of the way I always came off to me.
It's very Mad Max. It's got a really diverse planet, though. Like, there's definitely parts of it that have, like, rainforests, and you get into a tundra area.
Is it first-person shooter, or is
Yes, it is first-person shooter.
First-person shooter.
It's a shooter-looter.
You have, you co-op, or
you can play co-op. There's 4 classes. If you do play solo, there are no other people playing with you, so it'll just be you. There's no AI.
There's no AI teamies or anything. Okay.
It's a good co-op game. It's a loot and
meant
shooter.
to be played co-op? Is that really how?
No, you can play it either way. It's built to be played either solo or co-op.
Because some of these games are meant to be played. It's like a bullshit campaign.
Borderlands has always been good about making it a good solo experience and a really good co-op experience.
Because I always preferred playing by myself.
Yes, it's a great game. It's got a great story. Lots of hidden lore in it. Lots of like.
All right.
You played Skyrim, right?
Yes.
Think about how Skyrim has its lore kind of scattered in books. Same way in Borderlands. It's got a lot of lore that you don't have to focus on if you don't want to. Okay. It's got a lot of Diablo-esque looting. It's a very satisfying game to play.
All right.
It's a lot of fun. And the art style is really cool. That cel-shaded, cartoony art style just works for it.
All right.
So, recommend it. 10 out of 10. Go play it.
Okay. So, Borderlands 3, Expanse, not Ad Astra,
and not the island.
Stay off the island.
Everybody from Lost ever. Smoke Monster was even like, stay off the island.
Yeah, seriously. I watched like 2 seasons of Lost, and then I just got so disinterested.
I was a 24 kid.
I watched the first season of 24 was fantastic because they actually like did traffic and shit. And then after that, they're like, no, you can go from one side of the city to the other and during rush hour, and it takes 5 minutes.
Yeah, the rest of that show sucked.
Yeah. Kiefer Sutherland, he did 1 good season, and that was it. And then I've never been interested. Donald Sutherland, tell your kid he sucks. All right. So next week, 21 Bridges comes out. Do you want to do that, or do you want to do Rambo?
Let's see, because I think 21 Bridges is coming out before we actually go to see it. So we might be able to look up some reviews and see which one is getting higher reviews. I think Rambo's going to just be funny. I think we're going to laugh at Rambo for like an hour.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I just want to tear it apart.
Okay. We'll probably might do Rambo.
Yeah, I might do Rambo, because otherwise it might end up like this. Ad Astra is just... Or
yeah.
21 Bridges, it makes no sense, and it's all stupid.
Yeah.
And then Joker the following week.
And we're so hype.
Yeah, well, prepare to have your hype shit on, because I don't know. I'm skeptical when they put it out so early, and you playing that expectations game, and it's really hard to beat expectations.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's just
I'm just excited to see what they do with it. I'm not even really going in with an expectation that it'll be good. I just want to see the new take.
Yeah, I want to see how just fucked up he is.
Yeah, that's what I'm really interested in, is how fucked up this movie gets.
All right. So it looks like that's it. Check us out on Facebook, GreyVillain Podcast, Twitter @GreyVillain Pod, YouTube GreyVillain. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Tell us how much you liked Ad Astra. Tell us why we're all stupid.
And I'll tell you why you're wrong.
Yeah. And we'll like shoot a rocket at you. From our moon rockets.
Yeah, we'll shoot moon rockets at you.
But everything you do helps spread the word, so more interaction means more eyes and ears for us. All right? Stay cool.
Peace.